Welcome to the Disabled Podcast, starring your host, Christian Reitz.
Hot dog, let's go!
Welcome to the Disabled Podcast, the show that incorporates disabilities with the magic of Disney. Welcome to episode 11, entitled The Make-A-Wish Foundation. Be sure to use our hashtag the Disabled Podcast when sharing this podcast to all of your social media platforms. Now again, that's hashtag the Disabled Podcast when sharing this podcast to all social media platforms. And now, here is your host, Christian Reitz. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Disabled Podcast. You guys, it's been a long time since I've done an episode. I hope you guys have had a great Thanksgiving weekend here in 2025, or if you're listening to this in future years, whether it's 2026 or 2027. I just hope you've had a great Thanksgiving weekend with your family. It's honestly been a long time since I've done a podcast like this because I had some things going on with work as well as celebrating Thanksgiving with my family out of town and all that stuff. And so I hope you guys have had a great last couple of weeks. We are officially back, though, with a brand new episode of the Disabled Podcast. And in this week's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about one of my favorite organizations called the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm so excited, guys, for you to jump in with me. So let's dive right on in. Now, before I really jump into this week's episode, I want to draw your attention to a couple of different things that you will want to know for the Disabled Podcast. The first one being this: checking out the Disabled Podcast Facebook page, which you can find in the description box of whatever streaming platform you are listening to me or watching me right now, whether that be YouTube, or that be Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, or iHeartRadio, or any other streaming platform that you're listening to me right now. Or if you're watching on YouTube, special for this week's episode and moving forward, you can actually scan the QR code that is popping up on your screen right now, and you can go check out the Disabled Podcast Store. Now, the Disabled Podcast Store is your one-stop shop for all things related to the Disabled Podcast. And guys, I have so many new things coming out within the next couple of weeks that I'm working on, trying to get out there as quick as I can, well into the new year of 2026 and also in future years to come. So be sure to go check out the Facebook page and the podcast store. This QR code that you're looking at right now, if you're watching on YouTube, will be up the entire time as I'm speaking in every single episode. So be sure to go scan that QR code if you're watching on YouTube, or go check out the link to the Facebook page and the podcast store in the description box below on whatever streaming platform you are listening or watching me right now. So without further ado, let's get on with talking about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Now, in order to really talk about the Make-A-Wish Foundation and really to talk about the impact that the Make-A-Wish Foundation has had on my life, we need to kind of give you a bit of a backstory for those of you that might not know what the Make-A-Wish Foundation is really all about. Now, the Make-A-Wish Foundation was actually founded back in 1980 in Phoenix, Arizona, and it all started with a little boy named Chris Gracious. Now, this guy was just 7 years old, and he was actually battling leukemia at the time, and his biggest wish was just very simple. All he wanted to do was to be a police officer for a day. So a group of volunteers made that happen, giving him a uniform, a badge, and the experience of a lifetime. And what that single wish did was that single wish inspired the creation of a foundation that has really grown into a global movement. Now, really what the Make-A-Wish Foundation does is they grant wishes to terminally ill children and their families, whether that's meeting a celebrity or say in the case of Chris, they would grant them positions for a day to be a police officer or a fireman or in the case of most people, and this is what we're going to talk about a lot today, to go on family vacations all around the world and even to Walt Disney World. Now, if you fast forward to today and look at all the wishes that were granted from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, actually, as of really the last year or two, the Make-A-Wish Foundation has granted more than 615,000 wishes worldwide, across roughly 50 countries, and just in the past year, nearly 32,000 wishes were granted, which works out to about 89 wishes every single day. And even right there in Phoenix, Arizona, the chapter that started it all, it celebrated with a world record breaking year in 2025 this year, granting 476 wishes locally alone. Now, of course, Disney is it really has quickly become one of the most popular wish adventures and destinations, and it makes perfect sense because Disney isn't just about rides or really the fireworks. It's really a place where accessibility and inclusion are built in. Now, the Make a Wish kids that go there, they can experience anything and everything from private parade viewings to sensory friendly spaces with cast members trained to make sure that every wish is truly magical. Now, of course, one of the reasons why I am so passionate about the Make-A-Wish Foundation is because that I myself, whether you might not, or whether you know it or not, is that I actually was a Make-A-Wish child myself. And for me, my story really goes back to 2002 um, with my first trip to Walt Disney World. That was my wish that I really wanted. And so for me, the process of really getting that dream to come true actually started with two people in my area, in as far as the area of my state that that came over to my house, and they were talking to me and trying to get to know me a little bit. And really, it really wasn't about like, for me, I guess what really wasn't about like being a good candidate. They really just want to get to know me and then tell me a little bit about Disney World because at that point in 2002, I had really never been to Disney at that time. My family had gone when I was before I was born with my other siblings and all that, but I had never been to Disney World before, and so my Make a Wish experience through Disney World was one of the best experiences that I was granted. And so to kind of just tell you a little bit about how that was for me, what the Make a Wish Foundation did for our family was they gave us tickets, free tickets to go to all four Disney theme parks at that time, and to also go to SeaWorld and Universal Studios. And it was an all paid for experience. And we actually didn't get to stay on property on or at a Disney resort on property. What we actually got to do, and it's still alive today, it's still standing today, is we got to go visit and stay at Give Kids the World Village. Now, Give Kids the World Village is another thing in itself, and I'm going to talk about this in a future episode in season 4 of this podcast. And really, Give Kids the World Village is really what you would expect. It's a child's village. It's what children dream of living at when they're children. So they would have things like an ice cream parlor, a playground, an arcade area, and you would actually get to stay in these houses that are specifically designed. They're all accessible with accessible showers, accessible bathrooms, accessible entrances to the housing area. And you would each have your own individual house for your family. So these bedrooms back in that day at least could fit up to 6 of us, me and my 5 other siblings, plus my mom and dad. So that was about 8 of us. And I mean, these houses were beautifully designed and just amazing, really amazing places to stay at. And what I love doing, and I wish I could go back and do this again, is I used to love every night going to get ice cream from the ice cream parlor. In fact, if you want to know my favorite ice cream, it is chocolate chip cookie dough. That's actually where my favorite ice cream flavor got started. Was actually at it was actually at Give Kids the World Village. So Make a Wish actually made a way for that to happen. And then, of course, when it comes to the theme parks in Universal Studios, SeaWorld, and also, of course, in Disney World, everything was paid for. So I would get special access to certain shows. I would get early entry to certain things. I would get private character meet and greets with Mickey and all the gang or the princesses or anything that I was really interested in. The Make-A-Wish Foundation really did go out of their way to make sure that myself and my family had the most fun vacation and the most stress-free vacation. And that's where I got to eat at places like Chef Mickey, which I believe I've talked about Chef Mickey on the podcast before. I have to go back and check. I'm not sure if I did, but if I have not, that will definitely be an episode in the near future. So stay tuned if I have not. And I mean, like, I'll be honest, sometimes recording these podcast episodes, you don't remember what you talked about, what you did talk about. So if I have not done a podcast episode on Chef Mickey, I will be sure to do a podcast episode on that in the near future. And really, for me, that whole experience of Disney, I mean, the reason why I do podcasts now about Disney and disabilities was really because of the Make a Wish Foundation, the way it's really touched my life and my family's life. And it really got me into what I do today for a career in lighting design and in production for my home church. I mean, that experience for me was one of the coolest experiences of my life. And really, um, it really changed my perspective on the way that I view myself. Um, because when you have a disability, and those of you that are out there know that, it's very easy to get discouraged about your disability because you're not quote unquote normal like anybody else. But the Make a Wish Foundation really made it feel like I was the star of my hit reality TV show about my life, and so really that experience for me became one of the best experiences for me, and really started my lifelong journey of loving Walt Disney World. Now, of course, I am just one of the many stories of the Make a Wish Foundation, of really being a wish child myself. If you're one of those people that love stories like that, you can read stories all over the internet on Google. You can go to YouTube, watch videos of families who have been affected by the Make a Wish Foundation in a positive way, and see their stories come to life, really. You can also go to wish.org and you can actually donate to the Make a Wish Foundation right on their website. You can go read the stories, and you can find out actually different ways you can volunteer your time for the Make a Wish Foundation. They're always putting things out online. Now, if you want to know more, I will actually have a link in the description box below. You can actually click on it right now in the description box of whatever platform you're on right now. And in that, you can actually go online and donate. You can go read the stories and go find out different opportunities in your local area to see whether or not Make-A-Wish is in your area. They have so many offices around the US and around the world. And it's just amazing what they do. I mean, Make-A-Wish Foundation, if I could just say, really has impacted my life. And really, again, I mean, I don't think I have enough words to describe what the Make a Wish Foundation has done for me. I mean, they're really the best organization that I've ever seen in my life, and they really care about what they do. You can see the effort that they put into what they do. I mean, these guys go above and beyond for every Make a Wish child, every Wish kids, what they would call it, that is in their area. And again, these are not just like, oh, you can sign up for a wish. You actually, for me, and this is one thing I forgot to mention earlier, for me, I actually was actually recommended to have a wish granted. So that could be through a doctor or somebody else. And again, you can go look at all the information of how that works on wish.org. Guys, please go and donate to this organization. It's literally the best organization, and one that is really close to my heart, that I love very much. And yeah, I'm just excited for what the Make-A-Wish Foundation does and for what they have yet to do. Well, guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode and for really talking about my favorite organization on the planet. That's just one of the many organizations that I love that cater to people with disabilities and their families. Again, if you want to donate to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, you can go to wish.org, which is in the description box of all of our streaming platforms, as well as on YouTube, if you're watching me on YouTube right now. And just go check out what they do, guys. They have so many opportunities for you to volunteer your time or to donate. It's just an amazing organization. Again, guys, that is all I have for this week's episode. If you want to follow up more on the Disabled podcast, you can do it in a couple different ways. You can either subscribe to me on whatever platform you are listening to me right now on, whether that's YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Or you can even, and you can even go to the Disabled Podcast Facebook page, which the link is in the description box below. And even if you're watching on YouTube, again, you can scan that QR code and go visit the Disabled Podcast store. This is the merch store that we've been doing for a little bit now. We've got more things coming up in the near future for the holidays, for Christmas, and for the new year that I'm working on putting out there for you guys for merch. So go check it out on that QR code, or if you're listening to me on any other platform, click the link in the description box of that platform. Well, guys, that's all I have for this week's episode of the Disable Podcast. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we'll see ya
Real soon.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Disable Podcast. Be sure to use our hashtag the Disable Podcast, when sharing this podcast to all of your social media platforms. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see ya real soon.